Is about the analogy as if Atma is a passenger in a vehicle and Buddhi is the driver, etc. What was
Right.
your last line? What was your question then?
The question is, so Atma has no say. Uh, that means Atma is just a passenger, and so how does it uh, communicates to the Buddhi that this is what I need to do? Like towards I need to proceed towards the moksha or whatever. So,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
um,
I
yeah.
slightly understand. It's a,
Mhm.
let's see, we have now about 20 minutes. So in that much time, how can I cover this question? Let's see. I will like to share a slide with you probably, and that may help explain. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So here is a slide.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. So here, very quickly, we won't go through the all the aspects. This is the Atma. You can see my cursor.
Yes.
So that is
Mhm.
the Atma, the passenger here.
Yes.
And these three boxes, the blue color, kind of square, rectangular, that is my mind, so to say, what is called Antakaran, inner instruments.
Mm-hmm.
They have a name, the very close to me is Buddhi,
Mm.
and this is my Ahankar,
Okay.
and this is Manas, Man, so to say.
Okay.
Now, Man is connected to my five sensory organs and also five motor organs.
Mm.
Via these, I acquire knowledge, generally one at a time. So that is why this is a thin arrow.
Mm.
And I activate my motor organs, organs of action. Here there
Mm.
is a multiplicity. I can walk and hold something on my hand, speak also. So this is kind of a multitasking. That's why this is a thicker arrow.
Mm.
Now, typically a signal from sight organ is picked up by my manas, passed on to ahankar, and then he is projecting on my buddhi.
Mm.
Now, before he projects, he makes a copy of it for future reference. So this is where anything I have gained knowledge-wise, there is always memory stores it for a good time. And if I don't use it, it fades away. But otherwise, my mind always has a copy of it.
Mm.
Now, this is what is called buddhi, general.
Mhm.
And this, what is called bondage, this is called Hidaya Granthi. They have been tied together somehow. Okay. This coming together, that is what is your passenger, and this is your driver. Hmm?
Right.
This is a very good analogy. It comes actually in the Yajurveda, the 34th chapter. Susharate Ashwani Yan Manusyani Niyate.
Mm.
Then it has come in Kat Upanishad. Also in Gita, this has become very well understood. Now, the way they are brought together, actually, this is made of matter, which is always going through transformation. That's why made of Prakriti called Parinami. It always goes through phases.
Mhm.
And these fluctuations only make us feel happy and sad also, is it not? We go
Mhm.
through all this because of fluctuation in this. This is what I am always watching. This is kind of my inner TV I am always watching.
Mhm.
Now, when I go to sleep, deep in sleep, if I am really in Sushupti, then this becomes blank.
Yes.
Otherwise, I may have dreams. When it shows up something from the memory, maybe just displays something haphazard. So when I was talking about meditation, for meditation purpose, this is given another name called chitta. Why Patanjali gave it another name, I don't want to touch this now because that requires another 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So let me postpone that.
yeah.
So this has three names basically. It is also called Mahat, huh?
Mm.
But Mahat is a very general term because out of Mahat, all these things, the whole world will be made. Whole universe is made out of Mahat. A
Okay.
particular Mahat that is rich in Sattva is utilized as my Buddhi. So Buddhi is a very special Mahat which is rich in Sattva because it has to do my intellectual decision making. This is my discriminatory ability. Now this is, I am usually using it to reach some conclusions. Should I do this or that? Is it a chair or a table? So all these discrimination are done by Buddhi. But I am giving you a now brief answer, Buddhi versus Chitta, but you will have to listen very carefully. Now, this has a very high potential of discrimination. Sometimes I may not use this potential. Particularly think of meditation, if you have some practice of meditation, where you are watching this, you are not using it for any decision making or thinking or some sort of reaching a conclusion, but still something appears there, which is it is working in a very latent mode, you know, and it is just bringing something from your memory, displaying it, but it
Right.
is not working at its full potential of buddhi. That is why Patanjali gives it a name as chitta.
Yeah.
So let's stop there for why it has three names, Mahat, Buddhi and Chitta. है ना?
Mhm.
Now in meditation I am concerned with, because I am confronted with something is happening on this inner TV, which is like chitta, and I want to diminish and switch it off actually,
Right.
so as to be with it. Now your question was, this is the passenger and this is the driver.
Yeah.
This link, which is
Mhm.
called a Granthi, some superior force has tied up together.
Mm.
That actually is my bondage. And when I get liberated, then I will be disconnected from it for permanently.
Mm.
So that is what is called moksha.
Yes.
Now, this connection is very important to understand the nature of this bondage. This is aparinami, nitya shuddha buddha mukta. This just stays what it is.
Mhm.
But this goes through fluctuations, transformation.
Yes.
They are two different kinds. This is made of matter. This is non-material,
Mhm.
but it has something like a light of consciousness, which is emitting.
Mm.
This has no consciousness.
Right. Right.
So the way they are tied together is that some of its property is passed on to it. He begins to behave like a conscious being, begins to
Mm.
behave. He's actually
Yeah.
not. Like at this point,
Yeah. This
see my
body. Yeah.
picture, my hand is going up and down.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, this person's hand is very conscious at this point.
Mm.
Is it not? But
Yes.
actually, my hands don't have consciousness.
Mm.
The consciousness is here.
Yes.
But he has lent his consciousness in part to his buddhi, and
Mm.
buddhi has let it permeate through all these connections, and eventually I am able to wave my hand like this, is it not?
Yes.
Now the point I am emphasizing is the nature of this tying up together is very peculiar, so that this borrows some of this property. It
Mm.
seems like it doesn't borrow, but it appears that.
Mm.
That's why I am awake. I am very much like a conscious being now. But the body has no consciousness. Similarly,
Yeah.
mind has no consciousness.
Mm.
Consciousness is here. But that is the nature of this bondage, that this is somehow borrowed by it, and not forever, because even when I go to sleep, if I am in deep sleep, this has no consciousness, is it not? So it just, as if my Purush, this is also called as Purush, it lends its consciousness when it wants to use body and mind. When I want to use it, so I lend it. Now listen to this very carefully. Now the effect of this on that we are going to discuss, which is very important. Now this is called by Vyas, who is writing a commentary on Patanjali Yoga, as Buddhi Pati Samvedi. This term is very important. This is Buddhi. Prati is counter. Samvedi is to gain that knowledge. So what he is saying is, by the design of this bondage, this granthi, this tying is up, is of such a nature that whatever is displayed here is known to this. Then they give an example of, because this is aparinami, this can go through no change whatsoever. So this has to be described. What do you mean by he knowing this? So then they give an example, an analogy of crystal glass that is called mani, kusum. Then they say, if there is a mani and if there is a jasmine flower is brought near that crystal glass is pure, but its color, it adopts the color of the jasmine flower. And when the flower is removed, then it comes back to its original color, is it not?
Yes.
So it doesn't change its character, but it appears it has picked up the color of the flower. So that is very important to understand the nature of this bondage, that whatever appears on this inner TV screen is known to it, is known. The word is important. He knows it. Okay. Now listen to the next part very carefully now. This is called the Buddhi Vritti, which he has become aware of. Anything that happens here, now you cannot say, I saw him but I didn't notice him. You know that we, sometimes in our worldly context we say, I heard a sound but I was not listening to it. But if the sound has reached here, you are bound to listen. If your sight signal has reached here, you are bound to see it. So whatever happens here is definitely known by you. Okay?
Okay.
Now, whatever happens here has originated because of something, your desire to learn. Like at this point, your buddhi is displaying the words that I am speaking out. Is it not? Then you are discriminating, making sense out of it, and so on and so forth. You are quite aware of it. You are alert and knowing it. Now this is Buddhi Pati Samvedi. This has to happen. Now this is, you have come here to attend this class session to learn something. Is it not? That was your desire. Now suppose other than learning, hearing a word, let's say I am eating some food now and I pick up the taste of it. Okay. Now the taste also comes up to this point, and then I say, yes, this tastes exactly the way it should taste it. But suppose now I try to explain to you the difference between I eat to live and I live to eat. Sometimes I like to eat food for the taste of the food.
Yes.
For the taste of the food. Because I have a craving. Now, as I said, this middle unit, which is my storage device, it doesn't store only the knowledge of the past knowledge, it experiences the past experience also, and past actions also.
Yes.
I am not again going into this detail,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the caving, the last time I had that particular dish, which I enjoyed very much, I enjoyed its taste, that is also stored here. And since I enjoyed it here, it is sitting here as a sanskar, as vasna sanskar.
Yeah.
And if I am driven by not by hunger, but by the taste of the food, now remember this, what is the driving force? Am I eating for nourishment or am I eating for taste of the food? If I am eating just for the nourishment, that's a different story. Now you consider I am eating some dish which I enjoy and I am eating it for the sake of the taste. The taste is here.
Yes.
That is called vasna. That is one of the clash, rag it is.
Okay.
Now when that is the driving force, now when I eat food, the taste bud sends signal like this. It comes here. I know the taste because I am buddhipati samvedi. But since I had the craving, now that buddhiveti has become bhogveti. That is very important because I wanted genuinely to enjoy the taste of the food. Now, when does buddhiveti become bhogveti? That becomes when I let the buddhiveti fall on myself. That is because of my ignorance. Actually, I was just buddhipati samvedi. That's the way I was designed. But now I am, it's like, okay, just in 2 minutes, very quick, I will explain it. Sometimes you listen to a TV news in a detached manner. Now you are watching a TV serial and you have tears in your eyes. You have almost become part of that TV program. Now you are no more detached. You are participating in that event.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, very routinely, all these kind of signals from the outside world and from your storage device keep coming here, whether you want or not want them. Now, by very routine design, you are buddhi sapati samvedi, so you become aware of them. But when you don't maintain that detachment, like when you are watching TV news, you are quite detached. But when you are watching TV serial, you are quite attached to that. When you become like that, you are allowing. Now you cannot blame your mind or anybody. You allow this buddhi vetti to become bhog vetti. Then you get sukh or dukh. Otherwise, you are away from sukh and dukh. Okay. Now, when this has become sukh and dukh, bhog vetti, now that also leaves an impression here. So your cravings are, you are adding layers after layers. Now, even a good person, in another context, I said 3 kinds of people are there. So even the average, they are good people. They are not doing bad anything. But they are driven by forces so as to acquire the objects of pleasures of life. You want to build a good house, new car, all these assets,
Yes.
for them, for their family, and take away whatever is painful. So all their actions they are not niskam karma, they are sakam karma, so as to gain pleasures and diminish pain. Is it not? Very normal thing.
Yeah.
When they do this action, then their law of karma leisure is filling in, So they have to take birth again because this has a lot of balance here.
A lot of stories. Yes.
So now coming to your question of moksha, first is you have to perform action, but they have to become higher order. That brings you like a devata, like as a mother works for her child without expecting anything in return. So when you perform action as if I am doing just because that Ishwar expects me to do it.
Yeah.
So your actions are for as if dedicated to him. That is called a Ishwar Pranidhan, you know.
Okay.
When your actions are like that, then they are not making in the ledger book.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is no new entry. But there are old entities, which is called Klesh and Avidya. That's why the bondage took place. Now that has to be burnt, and that is burnt by means of Samadhi lab. So in Samadhi, the seeds are burnt out, bij dagdvat. Now when all the seeds are burnt and no more new ledger entry, then you are eligible for mukti.
Mm.
So otherwise you are in this vehicle, you are passenger, he is the driver and these are the horses and this is the ropes. So all that analogy is working
Mm.
and this is an unending journey. Not
Yes.
only this journey but birth and life, death are cyclic, keeps on happening. So this meditation and upasana is not just for getting away from stress and nice, cool, calm life. This is the only way you can burn the seeds of avidya, and this is the only way you can get mukti. And somehow in the literature, there is a lot of confusion as if there are other paths also. No, this is the only